This is RTV6 News at 5:30, working for you.
And now at 5:30, a local foundation working hard to help families and patients dealing with serious illnesses like cancer. How Fairhaven is providing a place of refuge and their plans to help more people in need with your help. And Indiana will become the final resting place of TV legend Regis Philbin, where the funeral and burial will take place. Chris.
Here's what's topping our lineup. Families are preparing for what's next as schools and daycares are still in limbo, when you should be talking with your manager to make sure that you're set for the fall. We're also taking a look at the warning signs that your child might not be ready to go back to the classroom, what you need to be looking for, and when it's time to get an expert involved. Plus, there could be a new way to detect COVID-19 earlier, the method that worked with the flu that researchers are looking into using during this pandemic.
Western portion of the state a whole lot different than eastern Indiana. There's Putnam County on the campus of DePauw University. All is calm there. Eastern Indiana, the stronger storms. They picked up steam eastern Hendricks County into western Marion, then still across Shelby County, anywhere from 50 to 60 mile per hour. Winds has left thousands without power. There are no warnings at this hour. There are some strong storms Richmond on down through Batesville, Greensburg, and toward Versailles. These will quickly move into the Buckeye State. We've got general rain back behind that, but the strongest storm's about ready to leave the RTV6 viewing area, but heads up Brookville Reservoir and Batesville for now. Temperatures, the real warm, humid air is being pushed out of the state temporarily. 75 is our temperature right now. Through the evening hours, temperatures will stay generally in the 70s. These isolated showers and thunderstorms out ahead of the cold front that still has to move through. That will set the stage for less humidity during the day tomorrow.
And with so much focus on people struggling through COVID-19, we sometimes forget there are people going through the toughest health fight of their lives unrelated to the virus. And there's an organization working even harder to meet the needs of our most critical patients in Indianapolis. But as RTV6's Lauren Casey tells us, that organization, Fairhaven, also had to postpone its biggest fundraiser of the year due to the pandemic. But you can still help.
It's been difficult, like you said, on everybody, but if you're in the middle of a health crisis like they are, it's been even tougher.
Amanda Milner founded Fairhaven Foundation, a refuge in the storm, a temporary home for our most sick patients and their families near their doctors, free of charge. Amanda started the organization after seeing a need while working with a cancer agency and then being diagnosed herself. At 30 years old and a single mom to 2 kids, Amanda couldn't work. She lost her home, but not her faith.
But through it, I had so much to be grateful for, and so started Fairhaven as a way to share the love from like my family and friends and my Heavenly Father, and give that to people who are in the same battle.
Like Derek Brown, a Gary native and Purdue grad. He's lived and worked all over the country, but his roots brought him back to the Hoosier State. He was ready to start a new career when the unthinkable happened.
Something isn't right. Head was still hurting a lot. The mouth sores were still there. So we go to the emergency room, keep me overnight, and then I wake up the next morning and they tell me, oh yeah, you have leukemia.
A blood cancer with a rare mutation. And with that, Derek was on his way to IU Health in Indianapolis for the fight of his life.
So they put me in the back of an ambulance, and 2 hours and 50-minute drive down here, and got here February 20th and met with a team of doctors and put everything in the hands of the Lord and got started. So it was aggressive that first week.
That was February. Then COVID-19 hit the Hoosier State, and things that lifted his spirits, like visits from his family, came to an end.
That was big. That was huge. It was good for my psyche and just my overall, just seeing people, seeing friendly faces. It was just good. But then all of a sudden they were like, I'm sorry, we're going to have to cut that out.
But he says he is blessed. Derek needed a stem cell transplant, and his big brother was a perfect match. During that time, he needed to stay here in Indianapolis in an apartment with Fairhaven, which always has a waiting list, suddenly opened up.
Yeah, I don't even know where to begin. Fairhaven has been great. Words can't even put into play how much they've been there, from day one, helping me out.
The 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit includes a full kitchen where he can cook healthy food to fuel his body and a living room to rest it.
And then just for my parents as well, too. Like I said, having a place for them to be comfortable, being able for them to have, a place to rest and to be at ease.
And while he's hoping to be home soon, Fairhaven provided the next closest thing so he can focus on his fight.
Kind of like being home away from home.
Working for you, Lauren Casey, RTV6.
And Fairhaven is able to serve nearly 100 families a year who stay as average of 4 weeks. They currently own a new building debt-free that would allow them to serve 600 families each year once renovations are complete. These are some drawings of the new facility, and as we mentioned, Fairhaven had to postpone its April fundraiser. So right now we are helping to kick off their virtual fundraiser. Each day this week they are sharing stories of hope on their Facebook page. For more info, we put a link in this story on our website. Just go to theindychannel.com.
Could be a big step closer to a vaccine. The world's largest COVID-19 vaccine study just entered phase 3. Moderna and the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases developed it. This trial will take place at nearly 100 sites around the country, and 30,000 people are being tested with this vaccine, and doctors say that large number will help push a vaccine forward.
And the size of the trial really will allow us to show how effective they are. And if we do this right and we get the cooperation of the people and we have the diversity that we need in each trial, we can evaluate, does it work for the people at highest risk?
Doctors say testing in a variety of ages and ethnicities is important. Volunteers will get 2 injections and a placebo about a month apart. And the first woman to get the shot in the phase 3 trial says the opportunity is an important one.
It is very exciting. I'm very anxious about it. I just hope that they're really good results. I know a lot of people are doing a lot of different vaccine trials and things are going on, but number one, I feel so proud.
Phase 1 and 2 were mostly focused on the safety of the vaccine along with how the body responds to it. Phase 3 will focus more on how effective the vaccine is in different groups of people. Let's turn to the news feed. A top official in the Trump administration has COVID-19. National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien is now the highest-ranking member of the White House to test positive, as according to CNN. Strong words from the WHO about this pandemic. It says this is easily the most severe global health emergency ever declared by an agency. This is the 6th time a global health emergency has been declared. And a senior National Guard officer is challenging the Trump administration's account of the violent clearing of protesters from Lafayette Square last month. He says in prepared testimony ahead of a hearing tomorrow that there wasn't adequate warning and that the protests were peaceful. Let's get back to our lineup. Families who have been working from home are now preparing for what's next with their jobs, with schools and daycare still in limbo. We have when you should be talking with your manager to make sure you're set for the fall.
The funeral and burial for TV legend Regis Philbin will take place right here in Indiana. Philbin died Friday from natural causes at the age of 88. His funeral service and burial will take place on the University of Notre Dame campus. Regis was a Notre Dame alum and a huge fan of the Fighting Irish. The funeral will be held at the Basilica of the Sacred Heart and burial at Cedar Grove Cemetery. The family is keeping the details private. And tomorrow, ABC will remember Regis with a primetime special. Regis Philbin, the Morning Maestro, will air as a special edition of 2020 Tuesday night at 8 right here on RTV6.
Anonymous donors are keeping up the fight to allow voting by mail this election season. The Associated Press found at least $100 million have been donated to organizations that advocate for mail-in voting. Now, on the other side, conservatives are going to court and fighting cases related to mail-in ballot procedures. Now, employers are trying to plan for the fall. This, as the future of schools and childcare remains uncertain. The Society for Human Resource Management looked into how companies are preparing, and some are allowing telework to continue full-time. Some are offering flexible work schedules, and that means that parents can have off or telework certain days if kids are partially learning from home. A small number of employers want to allow parents to bring their kids to work. Now, others are considering subsidies for childcare.
I think employers are still trying to figure it out. And again, the schools are still trying to figure out what they're doing. And so this is an evolving process. It's going to be changing. And I just foresee that many employers are going to be doing things as far as making accommodations that maybe they hadn't made previously.
SHRM has found 45% of organizations have not announced a date to return to the workplace. More than half plan to return by the end of this month. Now, many say the flexible options can have benefits.
You know, it can help in enticing candidates to come on board with the organization, and it can help with employee engagement as well. So I foresee that many employers might actually keep those programs in place.
Now, if you're concerned about your employer's plan, SHRM says that you should have the conversation sooner rather than later. And even if your kid's school hasn't said for sure what it's doing this fall, talk about what your work options might be. Now, ahead in our lineup, we're looking at the warning signs your child might not be ready to go back to a classroom, what you need to watch for in their behavior, and when it's time to get an expert involved. Let's start the news feed. Thousands of federal workers want disability compensation. 4,000 say they contracted coronavirus at work, and the families of 60 deceased employees are seeking death benefits from the government as well. A pet cat has become the first animal in the UK to contract coronavirus. British government says the transmission between animals and humans is minimal. The NFL is hoping to play this fall, and if players don't play it safe, they could lose money. The league and union coming to terms saying that players who contract COVID away from team facilities in what they consider high-risk activities could be at risk of not getting paid. An NBA player is making sure that female players still get paid this season. Kyrie Irving of the Brooklyn Nets has given $1.5 million to help WNBA players who have decided to sit out this season. Some WNBA players have opted not to play due to coronavirus concerns as well as social justice issues. The pandemic has hit the hospitality industry the hardest. This is according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Nearly half of all leisure and hospitality jobs were lost in April. Hotels alone are losing an estimated $400 million in room revenue each day. In early July, 6 out of 10 hotel rooms were empty. But with all of that, there are some new possibilities.
There's also a shift in the mentality of a hotelier to be a lot more adventurous and to really test out every single possibility to be able to monetize their hotel, not just with rooms, by the way, but with every single corner of their hotel.
That is the creator of Hotels by Day. It allows people to rent a room during the untraditional daytimes for various reasons. Someone might have a long layover. They're taking a daycation. They want to use the facilities like the pool. Now, when the pandemic hit, Hotels by Day lost 80% of its business. Well, now they're down only 40% because they say that more people are using hotels during the day for work.
Wish to escape from the work from home and use it, what we call the work from hotel.
Hotels by Day says sign-up requests are up almost 900% worldwide, and they've added more hotels in 3 months than they did in the 5 years since they started. Now, some hotels are setting aside rooms just for office space, mainly people, parents, and small business owners renting those rooms.
And a look at the calm skies down in Bloomington. Storms have rolled through there, as well as most of central Indiana at this point. Still have some rain around. I'm going to step out, and I want you to watch this line over 4 hours move from west to east across the state. Here it comes early afternoon after 2 o'clock, then just before 4 in the metro area, and now has made its way to Ohio, with the exception here along the southeastern portion of this. Strongest storms from Versailles to Brookville Reservoir, just outside the RTV6 viewing area, and leaving. There's rain back behind that, and the threat for additional showers and some thunderstorms. We're not expecting severe weather, but they may still redevelop along the cold front that will drop from northwest to southeast, lowering the temperatures tomorrow. But even more noticeable than that will be the drop in the humidity level, much more comfortable for your Tuesday. Sunshine back in the picture. Temperatures tomorrow 78 without that incredible humidity that we had today. We'll still manage an 85-degree afternoon high temperature. One of the reasons for the change in the feel will be the wind direction. Winds out of the northwest then bring in the drier air and somewhat cooler air for a bit. The wind is never that strong as you start looking at Wednesday temperatures back to 86 degrees in Indianapolis. Areas to the south will be a little warmer than that. Then our next opportunity for rain starts to show up on Thursday as it gathers to our west. That'll be the next chance for a more widespread rainfall.
New research says flu and pneumonia shots may be good for more than just those illnesses. The research suggests that it could also reduce your risk of developing Alzheimer's. The shots could build up immunity defense that could prevent issues that lead to Alzheimer's. Now, adults 65 and older make up a majority of the coronavirus deaths in the South. That's according to the Kaiser Family Foundation. This may be a trend in one region of the country, but it's important for everyone to be aware and to not downplay the risk of this virus. Many of these deaths among older adults, they've happened in long-term care facilities, and experts believe the high numbers are a result of how certain states are handling this pandemic, as well as pre-existing medical conditions and demographics. Now, it's unclear what school will look like this year. States and districts across the country are unveiling their plans. So we're here to help you with facts and reliable information, getting kids safely back to school. Usher Qureshi has the warning signs that your child might not be ready to go back to the classroom.
As athletics programs begin to restart, 14-year-old Amina Ahmed says she's ready to get back into the swing of things.
So I really want to see friends and see teachers and being actually inside the classroom because it really helps me.
Still, there is uneasiness about whether a return to the classroom could lead to an outbreak.
Some people really are kind of worried about how many students are actually going back and how many people are going to be there.
Politicians, school administrators, and parents are weighing the potential risks of returning to the classroom. As coronavirus cases surge across the country, experts say the psychological toll on children needs to be addressed. Dr. Tali Raviv is a child clinical psychologist who specializes in student mental health and resilience.
One of the things that we're seeing a lot is that after being away from that routine for a long time, it is normal for families and for youth to be concerned about how is this going to be.
The American Association of Pediatrics says the benefits of in-person learning outweigh the risks, and the AAP strongly advocates that all policy considerations for the coming school year should start with the goal of having students physically present in school. But mental health experts say it's important to understand how each child feels about going back.
Because it's a very different situation if a child is worried I'm not going to have my best friend with me in my little pod than if they're saying I'm worried I'm going to get sick and die or you're going to get sick and die.
Signs that they're anxious about returning to school include any significant changes in sleep, falling asleep, staying asleep, not wanting to sleep alone, or having nightmares, changes in appetite or a lack of appetite, headaches or stomach aches, being more irritable, frequent meltdowns, and withdrawal from friends, family, or other activities. Dr. Raviv says if the anxiety is debilitating, it may be time to see a professional. For Amina Ahmed, her school's hybrid alternating in-person online program has put her mind at ease for now. Reporting from Chicago, I'm Usher Qureshi.
All right, Usher, thank you. Now, it's not just school that is changing this fall, it's also the curriculum. Johns Hopkins has developed a curriculum for children to learn about COVID-19. The virtual course is taught in 4 parts. The first part focuses on the biology of the virus, and the rest focuses on public health.
I was just blown away by the sophisticated, provocative questions that kids asked and the things that they want to know. And it really underscored the need that is there and the ability that a program like this can have to help address it.
Johns Hopkins is trying to get the course integrated into the fall curriculum at schools nationwide. Let's start the news feed. The pandemic could mean no Black Friday this year. Target, the latest store to say it'll be closed on Thanksgiving. Walmart also closing that day. Stores instead thinking of extending more holiday savings into October. Now, banks are now offering lower rates on smaller mortgages. According to Bankrate, the average rate on a jumbo mortgage is now more than the average rate on smaller ones, which is the opposite of what we saw before the pandemic. Google employees will continue to work from home until at least July 2021. Google first said that employees would be home through the end of this year. It could be a sign to other businesses that this pandemic won't be over in the short term. Demand for pizza is surging. So Papa John's is putting more people to work. The company says it will hire 10,000 more employees. The chain says over 3 months of the pandemic, sales are up 28%. Pizza Hut and Domino's, they also have plans to hire thousands more workers to meet demand. Now, consumers also buying more ice cream, but get this, they're buying less deodorant during the pandemic. New survey shows that sales for at-home food and treats are seeing a big spike, but beauty and personal care products are on the decline. That doesn't include hygiene products like hand soap, which continue to be in high demand. Now, finally, in our lineup today, we could have a new way to detect COVID-19 earlier. The method that worked with the flu that researchers are looking into using during this pandemic. Researchers are looking at how the U.S. could improve the overall pandemic outlook as it continues to evolve. Troubling spot is still testing.
But you look at many other countries, they had the testing ready even before the first patient, like Iceland and other places. And we went 2 months without ability to do any significant testing.
Vice President of Scripps Research says the U.S. was flying blind in terms of virus spread during the first phase. He told the head of the Journal of the American Medical Association that they're testing a new way to early detect and track COVID using a method that worked with the flu.
So we think we can achieve a digital surveillance for the country using what 100 million people have, one of these wristbands, whether it's a smartwatch or a fitness band. And that's a very complementary strategy to test, which we can't do in 330 million people on a frequent basis. So it gives continuous surveillance.
Currently, only about half of states have mask mandates, and experts say that research is proving just how important they are.
It's not just preventing infections, but preventing the severity. Just having a mask, if you do get the virus, it looks like the load's reduced quite a bit, and that's sparing what could be a much worse infection.
Scripps Research is also looking at a promising new earlier treatment for COVID. Interferons are natural body proteins that protect against viruses. Currently, only remdesivir and dexamethasone have shown to work in hospitalized patients with serious illness. Now, parents have a lot of tough decisions right now, like where do kids start school? What happens if parents miss time from work? Tomorrow, we look at laws that could help parents keep their job if they're forced to stay home with children.
The strongest storms are now exiting or about to exit southeast Indiana. They sit between Batesville and Cincinnati along Interstate 74, moving to the east-northeast. That doesn't mean the rain is over, maybe an additional isolated thunderstorm. I'll take you through the timeline for tonight and the big change for tomorrow coming up. That's all for the news at 5:30. More news starts